As the language on the Lord of Satire can be a bit raunchy at times, this show is meant for a mature audience. Therefore, listener discretion is advised. And please don't try to commit acts of satire at home. I'm a professional.
Hi there. Obviously, I can't tell you what my name is or where I am, and I am disguising my voice. I just want to say a word of thanks to that great dating website, God Match. That's the one that advertises on the TV saying it's time to find God's match for you. Oh, some people are just so stupid. All I had to do was sign up, lay down a particularly pious profile, make myself sound like St. Francis of Assisi or Mother Teresa or something like that, and the next thing you know, I'm being messaged by all sorts of women and men who think God is telling them I'm the right guy or gal for them. I look at the ones I like, we set up a meeting, I sneak up behind them, and the next thing you know, they're in my collection. Yup, got a whole basement full of them. So, thank you, God Match. People who are foolish enough to give you money thinking that God will find a perfect match for them. Oh, they're dumb enough to believe anything. Or anybody. Quiet down there or it gets the hose again. God Match. Ooh, yeah.
Here comes the Fat Man.
There he goes. He's stepping on the scale. Weight, 237 pounds.
It helps if you keep one foot on the ground.
Fortune, danger. Who is it?
The Fat Man.
Oh, yeah, sure. I'm fat. If you ate as much ice cream as I do and got as little exercise as I get, you'd be fat too. Probably even fatter. But what I lack in slim, I make up for in wise guy. For I, Bill Schmalfeld, am also known among the criminal underworld as the Lord of Satire. The Lord of Satire, starring Bill Schmalfeld, hobbled by 13 years with Parkinson's disease, unable to do anything productive with himself. The Lord of Satire sits at his microphone and mocks those who deserve mocking. He sneers at those who are in need of a good sneering. He pokes fun at those who are in want of a good poking. And he does it for fun. This thrilling episode of The Lord of Satire is brought to you by Papa Luigi's Republican Italian Restaurant. It's the same vile, tasteless swill you turned your nose up at last time. But he's made a lot more of it, so please come back and try it again. Now, here he is, the Lord of Satire.
Ah, yes, and hello, I'm Bill Schmalfeld, the Lord of Satire. Welcome to our Thursday get-together. It's April 25th, and I'm just very glad you could join us today. If you'd care to drop a tweet, please do so at Lord of Satire, or you could shoot me an email, bill@lordofsatire.com. And we've got a chat feature here you can use as well on the Spreaker interface. Well, it's not like I'm breaking a promise or anything like that. Right before yesterday's show, I got another hate threat email from some buttwipe with a link to Randy Hahn's Blog Talk radio show. I didn't have time to listen to the two shows before yesterday's show, but at the end of yesterday's show, I said that I'd give him a listen, and I would give Randy the mocking he so sorely needs on today's show. I just don't have the heart for it. I listened to both of his shows yesterday, and I was not angered, not frightened. I was embarrassed for him, and especially for his co-host, Rebecca Hunt. She had to sit there for 2 hours on the first show and endure Randy as he got drunker and drunker as the show progressed, ranting and raving against his enemies, real and imagined, criticizing me for the bits and skits that I do on my show instead of taking phone calls. He didn't take any phone calls either, but I surmise that was because clearly no one was listening. And he, of course, climbed up my ass for making fun of Mandy Nagy, using her appearance as a source of gentle ribbing, all the while calling me a fat, ugly bastard over and over again. By the end of the first show, he was so drunk he could barely talk. And the second show is a clear example of why I'm not on Blog Talk Radio anymore. It's clear that he's a premium customer because he goes by 2 hours, 3 hours sometimes, and he couldn't even maintain a connection to Blog Talk Radio for that second show. So I just don't have the heart to lay into him. Nor am I particularly interested in doing so. I punch up when I fight at this stage of my game, and I don't punch down. They don't get much further down than Randy Hahn. I did get some interesting death tweets this morning, all from the same guy, and these all they have the look of Randy Hahn, who threatened my life on several occasions during the whole thing that happened in February and March. One is they're all from this clown called the Clowning Joker. Hi, Bill. We love you, Bill. Go on to the next world. The second one says, Bill, you're like that old dog that needs to be put out of its misery. How can we help? And then, hey, Bill, how would you like to die? Gunshot? Beaten to death? You pick. We're on our way. What the fuck? You were on your way in February. What kept you? Where the hell are you? Oh, Bill, I so badly want to put a bullet in your head and ease your pain. It must be hard being you, but you love it. Yes, Randy, I do love it. I do love being me. So back to bed, Randy. You have a headache. Too much drinking. All I can say is, Randy, if you're gonna kill me, fucking do it. Just quit talking about it. Get over here and do it. My wife will kick your ass, all right? She's older than I am. And if I get one more email like this, or one more tweet like this, I call the Houston police. I've got your address, I've got your phone number, I've got everything I need. One more tweet, and I call the Houston police. Are we clear? Let's hope so. Now, on to other matters of much more import. It's been a rough couple of years for Speaker of the House John Boehner. Imagine you're only 2 heartbeats away from the presidency and you can't even keep your own party members in line. The Tea Party is just not interested in governing. All they want to do is stick a thumb in Obama's eye. And even when Speaker Boehner wants to comply with them to help them out with a bill that would have put the Democrats into a tight spot. The problem? It wasn't a tight enough spot for the Tea Party. You see, amid opposition from conservative members and Democrats, House Republican leaders abruptly canceled a vote on legislation yesterday, which would have simultaneously undermined a progressive piece of Obamacare and boosted the Republican Party's credibility with voters who support protections for people with pre-existing health conditions. The garden variety Republicans called it an effort to help sick people where Obama had failed. Well, the legislation failed because it was neither a straight attack on the Affordable Care Act, which likely could have passed with Republican votes alone, nor was it a genuine effort to improve it. It was a backdoor attempt to damage a permanent piece of Obamacare, which alienated the entire Democratic Party in order to temporarily bolster another part of the law, which would have cost them conservative votes. Earlier in the day, Tea Party members spoke out against the measure, lamenting that it merely tinkers with the law when they will accept nothing less than a full repeal. No wonder John Boehner's over there in the corner crying in his scotch. Why is Boehner over there crying in his scotch? I don't know. Let's go ask him. Mr. Speaker, do you have a sad? Mm-hmm. Oh, that's really rough. Are we going to have that vote later today? Mm-mm. What the hell? Why? What happened? They ganged up at my office door. They flashed their knives and smiled at me. You get the picture?
Yeah, we see.
They cut my legs off, the Speaker of the House. Tea Party's always putting me down. Down, down. That Cantor's just a traitorous clown.
What you mean when you say that Cantor is a
clown? They warned me that he was bad, but I think that he's quite mad. That's why I suck as the Speaker of the House. One day Obama wanted to deal. That made the entire Tea Party squeal.
What you mean when you say that made the whole Tea Party squeal?
I stood there and told Obama that all we could give was drama. I'm sorry they made me the Speaker of the House. He sort of smiled and shook my hand. My tears were beginning to show. As he walked back to the Oval Office, I said we could keep trying, but he flipped me the bird as I kept crying.
Why don't you head back over there to the Capitol? I believe the Tea Party needs you to make the crumpets today.
I felt so helpless, what could I do? Do. There's nothing our right wing lets me do.
There's nothing that the right wing ever lets him do.
In Congress, they stop and stare. I can't hide the tears, but I don't care. I'm useless and washed up as Speaker of the House. Speaker of the House, and now he's done. The Speaker of the House, and now he's done. The Speaker of the House, and now he's done.
Oh, everybody's done but me, huh? Very, very funny. The guy with the electronic voice box, and he's the last one singing. Ha, ha, ha.
But still, there must be... Yeah, they are. Still, there must be something appealing about the job, given how much he seems to want to cling to it. I guess there must be something good about it. This is my life. This is my job. I'm just a Southwest Ohio slob. Not like this bunch, all of them crooks, conning the voters, acting like schnooks. Seldom do you see honest guys like me, a gent of good intent, who's content to be Speaker of the House, doling out the charm, ready with a handshake and an open palm, tells a dirty joke, makes a little cash, nothing too unethical to build my stash, glad to do a friend a favor, always happy to be nice. But nothing gets you nothing, everything has got a little price. Speaker of the House, keeper of the zoo, ready to relieve them of a buck or two. Make the liberals whine, make Obama wait, threaten a sequester till they can't see straight. Everybody loves the Speaker, everybody's bosom friend. I do whatever pleases baggers, 'cause I need them in the end. Speaker of the House tries to get our vote, don't want the economy to stay afloat. Bastard to the poor, butler to the rich, takes it from the Koch brothers, their lifelong bitch. Everybody's adversary, everybody's whipping boy. Anything to please us, Jesus, how they treat me like a toy. Obama thought we had a deal, I thought so too, teabaggers squealed. I can't maintain my speakership with those teabaggers sinking my ship. Then my goose is cooked, then my fat is fried, and nothing's overlooked till they're satisfied. Give them what they want, follow where they lead, feeling that the running thing is what they need. Stubborn as a mule, head stuck up their ass, don't know real leadership requires some class. President's a mild annoyance, keeps the baggers occupied. Drawing up false charges keeps their little pea-brain satisfied. Let them have their time, let them have their say. Keep them on Benghazi till they get their way. Let them drag their feet, threaten to impeach. They don't realize that price is out of reach. When it comes to staying Speaker, there's a lot of tricks I know. Hiding it inside is where I keep my pride and try not to allow the shame to show. Speaker of the House wants to get our vote, don't want the economy to stay afloat. Bastard to the poor, butler to the rich, takes it from the Koch brothers, their lifelong bitch. Everybody's adversary, everybody's whipping boy. Filthy bunch of geezers, Jesus, what a sorry fucking lot.
Oh, look, there's Eric Cantor. I think he's gonna sing.
I used to dream that I would have his job, but God almighty, he is such a freaking knob. Speaker of the House isn't worth my spit. Comforter, philosopher, and lifelong shit. Cunning little brain, thinks he's friggin' newt. Waiting for the reason to give him the boot. What a cruel trick of Congress. Landed me with such a mouse. God knows how I've lasted working with the Speaker of the House.
Speaker of the House,
Speaker and a half. Comforter, philosopher, don't make me laugh.
bastard to the poor, butler to the rich.
Hypocrite and Tony and Obama's bitch.
Everybody bless the Speaker, everybody bless the House. Everybody raise a glass,
Raise it up the Speaker's ass.
everybody raise a glass to the Speaker of the House.
Here's frightening you just yet. Stay tuned for more of the Lord of Satire.
Have you ever had asthma so bad that you can't even breathe?
I have it all the time. But one puff from my humidia inhaler, and seconds later...
I'm fine for a few minutes.
Humidia should not be used by anyone who requires oxygen to stay alive. Studies have shown regular use of humidia can turn your lungs into gooey globs of lung pudding, and then you'll die. Do not use humidia if your other asthma medications work. Do not use humidia if your other asthma medications don't work at all. The FDA warns that the active ingredient in humidia, carbolic acid, is not recommended for human ingestion. The active ingredient in humidia was used by Dr. Mengele in some of his most horrific experiments on concentration camp victims. Before using humidia, make sure your next of kin have been pre-notified. If you do not have next of kin, please take an indelible marker and write your name and social security number on the inside of your forearm so the coroner will be able to identify you. Not for children under 18 or adults over 18.
Now, when my asthma seizes up, I can get up to 90 seconds of relief with humidia, but then, time for another puff.
Oh, Christ, that burns.
Humidia, for when nothing else works and you've given up hope. Your doctor won't prescribe it, so ask that guy who hangs out in the alley behind the drugstore about humidia.
It helps me breathe. And then...
it doesn't.
Grab your ankles and prepare for a mocking that you will not soon forget. The Lord of Satire has returned.
And now it's time for a brand new feature on the Lord of Satire, one that we call What He's Saying and What He's Thinking as He Says It. Today's guest, televangelist John Hagee.
A lot of people continue to wonder why leftists,
no idea how many or how few actually, but it sounds good,
who are pro-abortion, pro-gay rights, and secular, have made political alliances in the United States and Europe with Islamists who are opposed to them on a host of issues.
This would be a great opportunity to tell you what some of those alliances are, but oops, look at the time.
Radical Islamists are not debating same-sex marriage.
Neither are we, because Moses and St. Paul said it's sinful and an abomination.
But whether gays should be killed,
which may be our only area of agreement with radical Islamists.
What is often overlooked is that both groups, there is propensity to favor big government.
Which we do as well, if you define big religion running things as big government.
Radical Islamists want a caliphate to regulate every aspect of our lives based on Islamic law.
Whereas we only want to regulate every aspect of American life based on Judeo-Christian law. Not so much the former as the latter.
The left wants to tell us what to eat, what to drink, what to drive, what to say, and what to think.
And if you think that sentiment smells funny, consider where I just pulled it from.
Many on the left also despise Judeo-Christian civilization and its two pillars, America and Israel.
And when I say many, I mean there may be a couple, dozen or so. And as far as Israel being a pillar of America, check the Constitution and see where Israel gets mentioned. We only care as much about Israel as far as how many Jews we can get back there to set off that automatic alarm that'll force Jesus to come back.
Both groups believe absurd and obscene charges about our country.
Which for the most part have turned out to be true, but they remain obscene and absurd nonetheless.
It's time to play Who's Oppressing White Christians Now? That's right, it's Right Wing America's favorite game show. And here's your host, former MSNBC turned Fox News host turned Fox Radio host, and now we don't know what he's doing, John Gibson.
Hi there, everybody. Looks like we have a couple real geniuses up on the stage here tonight. Bill, tell us who they are.
Okay, John. Contestant number one is an auto mechanic from Oconomowoc, Wisconsin, a lifelong member of the Republican Party who tells everyone he served in the military when he was drummed out of the service 30 days into boot camp. Let's welcome Roy Innes. And contestant number two refuses to give her last name because you never know who's going to be watching this show. That's the kind of paranoia we like. So we'll just call her Dee from Houston.
Well, hi there, Roy and Dee. Glad to have you here with us on Who's Oppressing White Christians Now? I know you're both white, but is it safe to assume you're Christians?
It sure is, John.
Is my Lord and Savior.
Well, then, fine. Here's how the game is played. I show you a still shot of a right-wing internet TV show. You look at it for 10 seconds, then you have to guess who is oppressing right-wing Christians now. Are you ready? Okay, here's the picture. As you can see, former FBI agent John Guandolo is on the True News program with Rick Wiles. And that look on his face tells you that somewhere white Christians are being oppressed by someone. Here are your choices. A, the Marxist government in Washington. B, Barack Hussein Obama. C, radical Muslims. D, both B and C. And E, zombies. Write your answers on the board in front of you. 10 seconds. Excellent. Are we ready? Okay, let's roll the clip.
American Christians are being demonized. The NRA is being demonized. The Tea Party is being demonized. Red-blooded American citizens are being demonized. And at the same time, we have people inside the U.S. government who are embracing Islam inside this country. And they're being placed into positions of power to dominate the American people.
Yep. So the question is, for your viewers, are you going to kind of sit by and listen to you and I chat about this, or what is what are you going to do?
Well, this is the problem. What are you going to do? We just had an election, and the people just re-elected the Saudi plant.
I think I bring that up because it's the question I get the most. Well, what can we do? What can I've actually had people say, I can't do anything. Okay, I can go every 4 years and vote, but I can't do anything. And I just say, well, you have a local school board, you have a county sheriff, you have local elected officials, you have state representatives, and every one of them ought to know that this exists because the Brotherhood has organizations in every locale across the United States, including Hawaii and Alaska, where they are out there, and they're working very diligently, not just at the national level, at the state and local level.
But, John, isn't there a tipping point where this infiltration becomes so deep and pervasive that there's a tipping point and suddenly the balance of power is in their favor?
I believe there is, and I believe I would say we're pretty close to it right now.
We may have already gone over. I think we're already into it.
We may have. I'm not going to, I actually won't argue that point, but I will say this. I think that, and I've said this for a number of years now, I think that the big unknown in this, or the big variable in this whole equation is the American people. The American people, when they energize and kind of come around that corner, when they hit their tipping point and decide to engage and identify the Muslim Brotherhood leaders in their cities and their towns and their neighborhoods, and they point, say, that guy, that gal, they're working on this. They're working on the same side as Al Qaeda. That's what you should not discern between a Muslim brother and Al Qaeda. It's just a different bowl of vanilla ice cream. That's what it is. And so, would you want somebody who swears their allegiance to Osama bin Laden or the idea of Al Qaeda? Would you want them advising your school board? It doesn't matter what they're advising them on. And that's the other thing. Is I hear people say, what's he advising them on? I'm like, at some point you have to inject sanity in the discussion. And so if somebody is advising your school board, they're a Muslim brother, they are hostile. They should be treated like they're from Al Qaeda, even though you don't have to say everybody has to be tied to Al Qaeda. This is where we're missing it. The FBI, all these two guys in Boston, and we can't find any ties to Al Qaeda. Well, I can. They're dedicated to Islamic ideology of Sharia and imposing Islamic law. Because you look at the
that describes Barack Obama.
Well, that could be. You may be right on that, but I just, when it comes to what's happening here and across the country, I think that Americans in their local level have got to get engaged, and the Muslim Brotherhood is counting on the fact that we will not.
And there you have it. The answer was D. Both Barack Hussein Obama and radical Muslims are oppressing white Christians. Roy, what was your answer? Oh, you had the Marxist government in Washington. Close, but no cigar. D, what was your answer? Bill Smallfeld. Bill Smallfeld. That wasn't one of the choices, D. And who the hell is Bill Smallfeld? He's the worstest of the worst, John. And you should have had his name up there. And the fact that you didn't means that you are in league with him. So I'm sorry to have to do this. And in other news, proving once again that he is totally batshit crazy and has lost all grasp on reality, former South Carolina governor and candidate for the special election on May 7th in the South Carolina 1st Congressional District, Mark Sanford, instead of debating his opponent, Elizabeth Colbert Bush, attempted to debate a life-size poster of Nancy Pelosi. If he was insisting on having a debate with an opponent who was not going to show, he may have been better served to take the slightly less crazy approach of Clint Eastwood at the Republican National Convention and debate an empty chair. Or, in the alternative, if he had his heart set on debating a life-size portrait of someone, perhaps it would have served him better if that portrait had been that of his opponent in the May 7th special election, Elizabeth Colbert Bush. We'll never know. Listen for yourself, and if you're going to feel sorry for anyone, feel sorry for the staffer being asked to stand there holding the picture.
You need to hold Nancy up. Come on, no, a little bit higher, a little bit higher. Yeah, right up to, let me guide you here, right about right there. A little bit higher, right about, well, she's not that much taller than I am. Well, let's pull her back about, right about there. All right. Okay. All right. Y'all ready? Okay. The purpose of today's press conference here at the Medical University is to talk about how, last Wednesday we would have had our first televised debate right here at the Medical University to talk about a whole host of issues that I think are important to people here in the 1st District of South Carolina, here in the Charleston area. And my opponent wouldn't debate then. We've began a tour this week with 15 different stops saying let's have that conversation that I think is so vital to, again, not only the discussion of ideas, but ultimately finding conclusions. I mean, if at the end of the day you have an idea and I have an idea, but at the end of the day we can't... How you doing? Appreciate it. Thank you. But if at the end of the day we can't sit down with our ideas, at the end of the day, we'll never get to the point of conclusion. Nancy Pelosi happens to be her biggest benefactor. $370,000 roughly has come in thus far. And so since Elizabeth won't debate, I am left to debate Nancy. My question to you, Nancy, is if you look at the Charleston paper today, there was an article today about Boeing bosses and Bush talking about how, in essence, the stand by the National Labor Relations Board would have prevented what is going on with Boeing and the 2,000 jobs that came with it. And so my question to you, Nancy, is where do you stand on NLRB? Let me say that again, Nancy. Where do you stand on NLRB? Because, again, if you look at what took place, they would have, again, eliminated the good news that came with Boeing. She's not going to answer that one. But I would say then, if you look at the Wall Street Journal article today, there was a great article on stimulus, talked about USA drove Fisker to overreach, talked about how stimulus money caused this company, in essence, to not only be a big pitfall with regard to taxpayers, but really be a big pitfall with regard to this particular company. And so, I would ask you, Nancy, where do you stand on stimulus? And I think what Nancy would say is she stands for stimulus in a way that's very different from the way that I've stood for a long while on the whole notion of bringing our financial house in order.
Elizabeth Colbert Bush holds a comfortable lead in the polls, and is there any wonder why?
In other news, the Republican Party sued South Carolina congressional candidate and former Governor Mark Sanford for divorce today, saying that he has violated their trust for the last time. After telling reporters that the National Republican Congressional Committee would not donate any money to Sanford's May 7th special election campaign against Elizabeth Colbert Bush, RNC Chair Reince Priebus said the Republican Party can forgive a lot of things: cheating on your wife, being caught wearing diapers with a hooker, playing tappy-toe with strange men in airport bathrooms, and sexting with underage congressional pages. But they had to draw the line at trespassing.
It's time to pay some bills because you're not contributing anything, deadbeat. The Lord of Satire will return.
Ever wonder why that Chick Ballet restaurant is so anti-gay? Well, wonder no more. We at Tennessee Fried Chicken have done extensive research on that subject and have determined that there is no limit to the anti-gay attitudes of the owners of Chick Ballet. In fact, when you look at their marketing, it's quite devious and insane at the same time. You see, Chick Ballet goes to cities with large gay populations, coordinates with employment agencies, and advertises job openings in areas that gay men will find appealing. Interior decorating, disco DJ, florist, steelworker, cowboy, things like that. When the gay person shows up for the interview, it's a simple matter of chloroform on a rag, and Chick Ballet has a new source of fresh meat. Be honest. When's the last time you ate a Chick Ballet sandwich that tasted like real chicken? Huh? Think about it. And by working up homophobic hatred, they ensure that not only are they getting rid of the gay population, but they're filling their pockets with gold while you fill your tummy with gay. Don't believe us? Fine. Compare a Tennessee fried chicken sandwich with a Chick Ballet sandwich. Which one tastes more like deep-fried gay guy to you? Let your taste buds be the judge, like God will be the judge for the murderous owners of Chick Ballet. Just don't say no one warned you.
Sit tight. The mockery has scarcely begun. The Lord of Satire has returned. Assume the position.
Prior to that, Congressman Bill Dannemeyer out of California, a Lutheran guy, he said, you Democrats, you're wanting to fund all this homosexual activity. Let me describe to you what homosexuality is. And he just took a homosexual handbook to describe the different types of homosexual sex, and it grossed all the congressmen out. And he said, why are you grossed out? This is what you're funding. And he literally read it into the record, and they wanted to purge the record. But once you get education, you go, man, this is gross stuff, whether it's homosexuality, whether it's abortion. Even my granddad, when I got involved in the Republican Party, he said he had been a lifelong Democrat. He said, why'd you do that? And I said, well, Granddad, because of where they are on abortion and where they are on religious expressions and where they are on homosexuality. And we were building a fence at the time. And I vividly remember it. We were putting the barbed wire up and nailing it on the post. And he just listened to me. In about 5 minutes, he didn't say anything. And about 5 minutes later, he said, sometime you're going to have to tell me what homosexuality is. I hear people use that, and I'm not sure what that is. And there's a guy who's been in the Democrat Party his whole life, but because of the reprehensible nature of what it is, he didn't know. It had never been described. The Founding Fathers called it the crime not to be mentioned. It was that reprehensible.
Now, I do not know what Mr. Barton was talking about because Representative Dannemeyer at the time did not actually read this description into the record from a homosexual handbook or from any other kind of book. Actually, he had these remarks inserted, if you will, later under the revise and extend authorization that most congressmen ask for when they begin to speak. But for somebody who's not gay, or says he's not gay anyway, Mr. Dannemeyer seemed pretty well versed on what it is homosexuals do. Here's what he inserted into the congressional record. That the average homosexual has 1,000 or more sexual partners in his lifetime, that the average homosexual has only one sexual encounter per partner and never sees the partner again after the encounter, that the average homosexual has experienced receptive anal penetration, or the insertion of one man's penis into another man's rectum, that the average homosexual's favorite activities include receiving oral sodomy, that is, putting one man's penis in another man's mouth, performing anal penetration, and participating in mutual oral sodomy. Now, you may ask yourself, and I'll join you in asking, how would Representative Dannemeyer know what a homosexual's favorite activity is? I mean, not that there's anything wrong with that, but, gee, he sure did not like homosexuals very much. Other activities peculiar to homosexuality include rimming, or one man using his tongue to lick the rectum of another man. Back in Dannemeyer's day, they didn't have this fancy slang, but these days we call it getting your salad tossed. Golden showers, having one man or men urinate on another man or men. Fisting or handballing, which has one man insert his hand and or part of his arm into another man's rectum and using what are euphemistically termed toys, such as one man inserting dildos, certain vegetables, or light bulbs up another man's rectum. Boy, I tell you what, this Dannemeyer guy sure did know a lot about what homosexuals do. Could it be that, maybe he's a fan of Broadway musicals and just never told anyone?
How do the hobo folk play when they're having sex that is gay? The florist who is horny, the randy mailman, the plumber who is needing a nailing by man. When they have sexual need, however that hunger to feed, however do they manage to satisfy that thirst? Oh, what do homo folk do? You go first.
I am well informed by those who know them well. They find relief in quite a clever way. When they're really horny, they cuddle for a spell, and cuddling seems to brighten up their day. And that's what homo folk do, so they say.
They cuddle?
So they say.
What'll we do then?
All right, which one of us is supposed to lay down
I suppose
first?
I could, but...
All right, I'm the man. I'm the king. I suppose I should...
Yes, please do.
Yes, a good idea. Put your head right here on my shoulder.
Right here, you say?
Ow, 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 ow.
Am I hurting you?
No, it's just that I've been swinging my sword a lot, if you know what I mean.
What else do the homo folk do? However on earth do they screw? They don't have the equipment to interchange their parts. They can't help their enjoyment or pleasure their hearts when they're engaged in their sport of non-heterosexual sort. What ointment or devices provide the needed glow? Oh, what do homo folk do? Do you know?
Once upon the road, I came upon a lad singing in a voice quite like a bray. When I asked him why, he told me that his dad said singing only proved that he was gay. And that's what homo folk do, I surmise.
They sing.
I surmise. Arise, my love, Apollo's lighting the skies, my love. The meadows shine with columbine, and daffodils blossom away. Hear Venus call to one and all, and taste delight while you may. The world is bright and all is right, and life is merry and gay.
Hey, what else do the homo folk do? They must have a preference or two. They obviously know something, that's something we can see. A way to have enjoyment without pregnancy. What then, I wonder, do they to scare homophobics that way? They have some homo sorcery that truly satisfies. Oh, what do homo folk do? No more lies!
Often I am told they suck each other's and till they're truly uncontrolled. And soon the mind is blank, and oh, they're in a trance, a homo trance astounding to behold. And
what homo folk do. So I'm told.
They butt.
So I'm told.
Let me get on my hands.
All right, let me get myself ready. Oh, sorry.
It's supposed to feel like that.
Well, I'd rather like it, but... Oh, I'm sorry. Should I tell...
I don't think this is a very good idea.
Well, here, let me try putting it here instead.
Would you please stop?
All right.
I mean, just really stop.
I'm going to in just a second.
Get out of there!
All right. God.
I'm serious.
You're the one who was born.
I'll call the police.
God, we suck as a couple.
You're sure that's what homophobes do? It hurts me more than it does you.
They don't ask stupid questions what homo folks would do, 'cause that's what stupid folks do.
Oh, now, really?
I have it on the best authority.
Yes, that's what stupid folks do.
Take that look off of your face. At least our commercials are entertaining. The Lord of Satire will return momentarily.
Hey, buddy. Enjoying that quarter pounder from McDougal's?
Sure am. Beefy.
Beefy, you say? What would you think if I told you that beef you are enjoying was actually the ground-up remnants of Chinese dissidents executed by the communist government, thrown into the grinder, and sold to foolish Americans as McDougal's burgers?
I'd say...
That's a natural reaction. And it's true. McDougal's cares about one thing and one thing only: profit. The communist Chinese care about one thing and one thing only, and that's maintaining order in their communist country. That means no dissidents. But when you execute that many dissidents, where do you put the bodies? Luckily for the Chinese, along came McDougal's with this great idea.
How did you find out about it?
Because the American technicians at Burger Queen looked into it, did DNA analysis, found fingernails and bits of human bone ground into the beef McDougal's sells. That's how.
Well, I'll never eat another McDougal's burger again.
Stay away from the fish and chicken, too. It's all dolphin and diseased pigeons from Bangkok. At Burger Queen, we want you to know the truth, even if it makes you sick. And in other news, after realizing that they are now the laughingstock of cable news organizations after the horrible botching of their coverage of the Boston Marathon bombing, CNN is taking drastic measures to ensure that live, on-air, embarrassing moments cease at once. In addition to having a camera person and a field producer, each CNN reporter will be assigned a security guard to keep things like this from happening.
The quiet, the streets are empty, it's eerie, it's almost like somebody dropped a bomb somewhere.
That sounds like a canine dog. It's barking loudly. It might be on the scent of whatever it's supposed to be tracking. We don't know what is happening, but it is a dog, and it's barking. CNN had no official comment on its new policy, but human rights groups say...
Hello, I'm a Papa Giovanni of Papa Giovanni's Pizza. Here at Papa Giovanni's, Each of our pizzas is gently handcrafted by actual old Italian mamas we brought over from the old country. They take their time and put a mother's love into each and every pizza they make. Domino's Pizza, I spit on them. Pah! They are manufactured under slave labor condition in China by workers who get $2 a day to work 18 hours to make a pizza after pizza after pizza, which then they are frozen. The pizzas, not the workers, but who knows for sure? And then they are packed onto cargo container boats and shipped to San Francisco, where the communist Chinese government has hundreds of workers they snuck in through immigration to work under forced labor conditions to package and deliver their pre-made, frozen for 2 weeks pizzas into crowded delivery trucks to be transported to Domino's Pizza locations all around America, where other forced labor foreigner immigrants are beaten and their families at home are threatened if they don't have that pizza at your front door within 30 minutes after you call. The Boston Marathon bombers, they order a Domino's pizza right before they go to the marathon. If their pizza was delivered when it was good and ready, like a Papa Giovanni's pizza, where each pizza is lovingly prepared like your own mama would make, they might still be waiting for it, and all those people would still be alive. But no, Domino's, pah! They had it there right on time, giving the killers all the time in the world to choke down the pizza, and then go commit mass murder. Even though we are Italians and we were on the wrong side of the war there for a while, during World War II, nobody afraid to call Hitler evil. So why are we pussyfooting around with Domino's? Next time you in a mood for a tasty pizza, one that not make you sick, you call Papa Giovanni's, eh? Unless you are terrorist, then you call Domino's. I spit on them. Pah!
Papa Giovanni's Pizza, each lovingly handcrafted by an actual Italian Mamma Mia and not by Chinese forced labor. You can taste the difference.
Coming soon, that moment you've been waiting for, the end of the show. But first, some more of the Lord of Satire.
Ever been down to Texas? Interesting place, interesting characters. You may be listening down in Texas for all I know, and a lot of interesting things coming out of there. This congressman that they've been talking about lately, Steve Stockman, for instance, yeah, he's one of the new ones. He's one of the new Tea Party congressmen from Texas, and he's got a particularly interesting campaign slogan for his next election. Did you hear about that? If babies had guns, they wouldn't be aborted. Well, that's just silly. I mean, first of all, how are you going to get a gun in there? Okay, I mean, without hurting the mother. And at 24 weeks, the upper edge of the legal age at which a fetus can be aborted, there's just not going to be the hand strength to pull the trigger. And where's the kid going to get the ammo? I mean, at 24 weeks, the brain is not sufficiently developed to really be aware of its surroundings. So if Congressman Stockman thinks giving fetuses guns is going to stop them from being aborted, I'm afraid that a 24-week-old fetus is just not going to know what to do with it, for one thing. And even if you could set it up to where the moment the sperm meets the egg, not only is a zygote formed, but a little gun is formed too. And the gun grows as the baby grows, and the baby instinctively learns how to use it while he's inside his mommy. Who's to say that child is not going to come out at full term blasting? I mean, think about it. There you are. You're safe. You're warm. You're floating in fluid. You're clutching onto your Bushmaster. And you feel that first contraction. What's your first reaction going to be? Holy God, what's going on here? And then you feel the squeezing, and you see this opening, and there's light through it, and you're like, oh, no, what the, ah! And suppose you're a twin, identical, fraternal, it doesn't matter, or triplets even. Imagine what that would be like if you each had a gun, each of these little babies inside the mommy had a gun, and they had a disagreement. There's just no room to walk off 10 paces inside a uterus. Believe me, I know, I've been there. I'm a twin myself. And it's not like you'd have to be an expert marksman or anything at close quarters like that, but imagine the collateral damage if you miss the twin and take out a kidney or something. That's not going to be very good for mom, and it's not going to be good for you in the long run when she has to have a kidney removed. Or, for God's sake, what if one of your bullets bounces off of her spine and ricochets up to her heart? Then everybody dies. And think of the poor Octomom. Can you imagine the gunfight at the OK Corral that would have gone on in there? But practical considerations aside, imagine a single full-term baby being born with a gun. So when the doctor's got his hands on your head, you got your finger wrapped around the trigger of your Bushmaster, and when you come out, you're seeing things you've never seen before. Think of an alien coming out of a spaceship. A brand new baby doesn't know who we are or what human beings look like. The little bastard's just going to start shooting. Would make for an interesting movie idea, though.
In a world of amniotic fluid and darkness, with only the sound of a beating heart to keep you company, you think you're safe. But little Johnny McDane wasn't taking any chances.
Go ahead, Mommy. Make my birthday.
Arnold Schwarzenegger is Johnny McDane, baby with a Bushmaster.
One more push, Mrs. McDane. The baby's crowning. One more push, and here he is, and... Oh, God, he's dropping heat!
Hasta la vista, Mommy.
Baby with a Bushmaster.
Okay, the rest of you here in the nursery. Come with me if you want to live.
Baby with a Bushmaster. No uterus could hold him. No hospital could keep him overnight without the free consent of the health insurance company.
God, without me, Johnny. Your last round caught me in the leg.
Stay with me, Stella. I've never lost a baby yet. We are getting out of this hellhole.
Baby with a Bushmaster.
It's a boy.
Baby with a Bushmaster. This film is not yet rated. Coming this summer.
I have to go potty, but I'll be back.
In utero, no one can hear you scream.
I was looking at Stephen Stockman's Twitter one day, and I laughed at the thing that I saw. Oh, he may be a congressman of Tea Party ways, but horse sense is what he ain't got. I'm quick on the uptake. I'd like to get a tax break from our new Texas congressman. But I know damn for certain my name ain't Richard Burton, and you can't give a fetus a gun. When I'm with a girlie, her hair all blonde and curly, and we have some illicit fun. In a condom I trusted, she sees that it got busted. Still you can't give a fetus a gun. If she's knocked up, 'cause you cocked up, no, you can't give a fetus a gun. She won't need extortion, just pay for her abortion, 'cause they're safe when they're cleanly done. The pro-lifers will gird her and holler baby murder. They can yell, cuss, and fight, but a gal's got the right, and you can't give a fetus a gun. And if you could do it, you'd probably live to rue it, arming some woman's baking bun. 'cause a gun would confuse it. It won't know how to use it. Oh, you can't give a fetus a gun. Unborn armed with weapons might just be born as felons if they shoot at and kill someone. When they take aim and then miss, there would be abortionists. No, you can't give a fetus a gun. From the birth room to the courtroom, no, you can't give a fetus a gun. In Texas, we don't care if you don't think that it's fair that we'll charge you for murder. One. No ifs, ands, or maybes. We got death row for babies. And you won't get a hug, just a heart-stopping drug. Oh, you can't give a fetus a gun. A little common sense to end the show for today. I'm Bill Schmalfelt, the Lord of Satire. Thanks for being with us. Once again, you can send me a tweet anytime at Lord of Satire. That's at Lord of Satire. Or you can send me an email, Bill at lordofsatire.com. And within the next half hour or so, this show will be posted on my website, lordofsatire.com. And we're happy to see we've been picked up by Stitcher Radio on Demand. So you can find that application by going to Stitcher.com and just downloading the application. And you'll notice I'm just as sober now as I was when I began the show, which is really not saying much.
You have been listening to another exciting episode of The Lord of Satire. Join us weekdays live at 12 noon Eastern Time and on demand 24 hours a day, 7 days a week on Spreaker Web Radio. The Lord of Satire has been brought to you in part by Senator McConnell's Turtle Soup. There's a little bit of Mitch McConnell in every serving.
This is Bill Schmalfelt. Behave yourself. Or on my next show, I may be talking about you.
You can tweet the Lord of Satire at Lord of Satire and visit his website at www.lordofsatire.com. This is your anonymous announcer bidding you good day from the Lord of Satire.